Amen.
There is a place
Amen.
where everyone has a voice.
Amen.
In that place, you will find information, inspiration, and great conversation. Welcome to the Amen Corner, telling the truth in your city, with your host, Amos King. And now, here's Mr. Amos King in the Amen Corner.
This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Colonel Rollison.
Yes, sir. How you doing? Glad to have you back.
Well, it's good to be back here in the city. You know, I see y'all had a very exciting show last week.
Yeah. Reverend Seals, glad to have him.
Y'all done a great job, man.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Reverend Seals said you was off partying.
Yeah.
I hope y'all weren't partaking in no super spreader event.
Well, he ain't too far from the truth, you know. Had a good time down there in Arkansas, Pine Bluff. Me and some of my old teammates, we got together. We hadn't been together in a long time. And some of them I hadn't seen in 30 years. So, you know, we didn't have homecoming this year. So we said, hey, man, we just going to still get together. So we came on down and cooked out for 2 days and had a great time fellowshipping and everything. You know, we wore our masks and everything. But, you know.
So what you're saying is the pigs can come back out now. It's safe for them to come out now.
It's safe, man.
Y'all done cooking.
We got a very exciting show tonight. We want to thank you for tuning in to the Amen Corner, where we tell the truth in your city, providing information, inspiration, and great conversation. It's about 65 degrees here on the outside here in Stonecrest, Georgia. And I just want to say welcome to the Amen Corner tonight. Got a very special guest tonight, and we're looking forward to finding out what's going on in the Super 7 District.
I may have to move to the 7th District. Man, they turn the power off me out there in South Fulton.
Well, I want you to know the power is off in some areas over here, but it didn't go off over in my area.
Oh, man.
About 10 houses down from me, the power went off.
I'm going to let you know I'm a man now that's getting used to living without power.
Well, I'm hooked up to the power source. Jesus! He's got all power. You better check your power source.
Well, I'm better hooked up now because I ain't got no electrical power.
You know?
That's all the power I got.
Well, you know, isn't that a shame, man, that people power going off when they pick a black man to be president of Georgia Power?
Oh, man. But see, I got Greystone power. And see, I'm going to tell all the people out there now, when y'all out buying your new house, just like y'all go check the schools in your neighborhood, you better check the power company too.
Ross, we got a very good show tonight. We're going to move real quickly. Tell me something what you got going on over there.
Well, let's talk about the black CEO of Georgia Power.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I got one question, Mr. Chris Womack. When they pull a black man in to be CEO of a large corporation, that tells me that there's some fall guy issue on the horizon.
You think so?
I wonder what it is.
Some fall guy.
Y'all heard it here first. There's some fall guy issue on the horizon.
We're going down. Woo! So you're trying to say when they picked President Obama, it was a fall guy going down?
No, they didn't pick President Obama. We did. We came out and voted. They picked Trump.
Oh, see, I don't know why
we stayed home.
President Trump, man. Let me just set the stage for next week because, you know, everybody been in the hospital now has been there because of COVID. Ain't nobody having no heart attacks, strokes, or nothing like that. Everybody in there is in there for COVID. But let me just set the stage for you next week. What if? Okay, let's talk about what if.
Yeah, what if?
You know, because some people don't believe it. I just want to tell you, what if, Colonel Rosen, that Joe Biden don't win? Then what?
I already told you. I'm going to Abu Dhabi. I'm going to find me some sort of contract job in Abu Dhabi for 4 years because I'm not going to be able to stay here.
That's a strong possibility that can happen.
But let me ask you this question here. Why does all the news networks always put all these polls on the air?
Well, you know, they fool people because you ever notice with these polls over around 5 o'clock, they already almost don't declare the winner. So the people on the West Coast don't go and vote, you know. They've been standing in line for a while, so they're going to say, oh, the president already don't win.
I'm saying like right now, with how wrong they got it in 2016, why are they continuing to bombard us every day with all of these polls? You know, most of them saying that Biden is in the lead in all of these states. I'm not buying it. I'm waiting for the election.
Well, I want to tell you one thing. They ain't never asked me nothing. So that ought to tell you something, man. That's just like Nielsen rating. You know, I ain't never had a Nielsen rating on my box. You know, you
Yeah, and even when they call me about some survey, I hang up.
you hang up.
No, I'm not telling them anything.
Let's get back to Georgia Power. I just want to bring up something. You know, I want to start nothing, but I just want to make you think a little bit. You know, on the power bill, sometimes they got like $3.96 or $2.86. Colonel Rose, I don't know what the hell that means. I don't know what I'm paying for or nothing. I just go on pay it. Now,
Let me tell you something. You have to watch your power bill with Georgia Power, especially if you got a small business.
yeah,
I looked at the last bill that we got at our church. We had zero usage. Zero. Zero usage. And you know how much the bill was?
how much?
$1,900.
But you hooked up to the power source, though. That's what you should have paid from previous. That's the average, am I right?
Well, what they'll tell you is they go back and look, whatever was your highest usage, you know, over a period of time, that's what they charge you. Now you're talking about a ripoff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like saying, okay, fine. If I used $2,000 worth of power once, every month you're gonna charge me $2,000.
Because they're going to say, well, it's probably the same amount that you use it. So this is what you got to pay. That is not right at all. But I'm talking about the million subscribers that Georgia Power got out there charging $2.86 or $3.96.
Oh, you ought to see what they charge for the that nuclear power cost. You ever saw that on your bill?
No.
Well, it was on ours.
I don't even read my bill. I just pay it, man, because that's just like the I ain't gonna say it. We got the commissioner in the house.
Well, see, all of us don't have long dollars.
Yeah, that's
You know, we have to read the bill to make sure
that's
it's
just
right.
like over that water bill in DeKalb County. You know, I take a bath once a week. How in the world my water bill get to be $400, man? I just can't. Yeah, like I got a swimming pool or something. You know, then when you go down there, they say we're gonna work on it with you.
Well, they're gonna do like Georgia Power. They're gonna charge you everybody else's usage.
Let's move real quick because we want to get a commissioner plenty of time tonight. Colonel Wilson, I do want to touch on this, and both of us got this here, the sheriff situation.
Ooh. Now, this is the sheriff of DeKalb County. I'm gonna come up with this brand new policy that the police will just use minimum force. Now, what does that mean?
Well, apparently it's either one or two things. Either she hadn't read her own regulation or she don't know what the hell is going on. Because that says to me it's called de-escalation of force. You know, where you use minimum power. If it's not real serious, then you don't have to just pull your weapon out and shoot.
Right.
You know, you can use some common sense. So they come up with these things because it sound good. It's election time. But the sheriff she didn't read my letter to Miss Karen Bennett, the state representative.
You know, all of these things are all subjective. I mean, you know, somebody's gonna come out and say, well, in my mind, that was the minimum force
Right.
required. And so it's like you said, like going back to your point, you just put some stuff out there, but really, what does it mean?
How can I say what's minimum force when the adrenaline is pumping through me? I just seen one of my buddies get shot. You understand what I'm saying? So how can you say what's minimum force? When we've seen a black woman in DeKalb County get beat by a police officer in the store, and she was mentally ill.
Right.
Okay, and he beat her and told her, I'll kill you with a stick, and nothing has been done to him. Okay, how is it when a black man who's buck naked, you talking about minimum force? In the first, he had 5 weapons on him, and the first one he pull out is a gun.
Correct. And see, that's the problem, you know, with when you put stuff on paper, there is no force behind it. When she's saying, oh, use something subjective in his mind, minimum force. Well, I don't think that's going to really have any kind of impact. What she needs to do is do like Victor Hill down in Clayton County did.
What does he do?
He fired the
That's
person.
exactly. I almost said something. I almost said the sheriff got to get a pal, but but you know.
No, don't talk about your sheriff.
Hey, I'm just telling you like it is. I don't support the sheriff, and I make it known because we went to meet with her about the veterans, to talk to her about the veterans. We met with the CEO, we met with the police chief. We had great meetings. We come out with some resolution. We go to meet with the sheriff. She don't want to see us, so she's not interested in helping us, and I'm sure in the hell not interested in helping her. I don't cut no bones about it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be writing an article on her this week. She goes and mentioned George Floyd name. I don't told them about that in DeKalb County. She mentioned George Floyd name is one of the reasons why they coming up with this idea. Well, what about Anthony Hill? Huh? What about Quintavious Harris, who was killed 1 year ago Monday? We had the trial, Anthony Hill, in DeKalb County, and the police officer got 20 years to do 12. She don't mention that.
Oh no.
You know,
That's
she's telling me
that's local. It's not national.
it's not national news, so she don't have to look good. I'm tired of fake people. You know, and if somebody can go tell the sheriff whenever she want to meet. Matter of fact, we'll bring her on the show.
Well, you know, she's probably gonna look at you and say, "Oh, he's an angry black man, so I can't come on the show."
Yeah, I am angry.
So I can't come on there with him.
You're absolutely right, because you know what's going to happen come Wednesday, Conrosa? Huh? If Donald Trump is going on Tuesday, what's going to happen Wednesday to these Negroes we don't put in office who don't do nothing for us?
Well, let me say this: if Donald Trump is voted out of office on Tuesday, come Wednesday, you still got the same problems.
Still
you
got
had.
the same problem, man.
You still got to deal with the issues. You know, Trump is just emblematic of the problem, and that comes to a good question in terms of why is there so much racial animus in our society?
There's a whole lot of it, man. You'll be surprised about that. But I saw that article with the sheriff, and she in the AJC, you know, putting this kind of stuff out. And we're going to see what happens. But I tell you what, when you go to court, that's not going to stand up in court, okay? Because it's what the policeman felt.
Right.
You know, you can't say how he felt. What
And like I said,
felt, what
it's
he was thinking.
subjective.
Yeah.
It's all subjective. And see, that's the thing when you put these things out where they're highly subjective, they really don't accomplish
You're talking
anything.
about minimum force, and here's a man was shot at 57 times. Come on, man.
Now, how many times was he hit?
5. Should have fired all of them. They can't shoot.
Well, I mean, as bad as they shoot, they should have shot 60 times. I mean, if you shoot 57 and you only hit the man 5 times.
Sad situation. That's overkill. But now they come up with these type of things. I want to talk to the sheriff. I want to invite her on the show here. You know, I want to do that. But like I say, we are.
Yeah, and we really want to understand what is going on with us local. Because, again, we got people being shot. We got people being killed by police. People where excessive force is being used. But we're talking about Missouri.
Yeah, great job.
George Floyd. And we got all this stuff going on right now.
All this stuff going on around here in the
Keisha
neighborhood.
Lance Bottoms just came out and said, you know, violent crime is on the rise in Atlanta.
But yeah, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about it in DeKalb County. I mean, the way they talk about it, there's nothing going on in DeKalb County. Nobody's getting killed and everything. But I read the paper. I mean, I read the internet every night.
You know what I would have wished he would have came out and said, well, you know, these mental health units.
Right.
Remember
Sorry about this.
when we met
Where'd you get?
and we talked about them establishing that in DeKalb County. We met with CEO Thurman
Right.
and the police chief. And what they said was they were going to establish one, but they only had one unit.
One unit.
I want to know how many more you got.
Well, I want to know what all that money is going.
You know, and I want to ask the sheriff because she could be like Trump. She could have disbanded the unit.
Good air. You know, you never. And let me just say this here, because you brought up something. You said make it look like he's a angry black man. I don't even know the sheriff, really. I don't know her personal or anything like that. So I don't have anything against her. All I know, I went to see her to talk about the veteran issue. Hopefully that it won't be a revolving door when the veterans come out. Not only that, if somebody over there locked up on $500 or $600 bond, we might could help them get out. These type of things that we want to talk about. Hopefully veterans won't lose their compensation when they go in there, stay a long period of time. These are things that I wanted to talk to.
Yeah, and
Sheriff
also,
about.
not have veterans with mental health issues
Yes.
locked up in jail.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that they get the appropriate treatment for what their illness is.
And veterans need to know there's a veteran court. So I wonder, when you get locked up, are they saying to you, do you want to go to veterans court based upon the crime or what's going on? You know, I don't know. But we're going to get ready here. Like I said, we got the commissioner in the house. And
Well, while you getting ready for the commissioner to come on board, let me ask this question here. Do we need another stimulus?
yeah, we need some money.
Well,
You know,
well, what did you do with the last stimulus check?
drank it up and smoked it up, and, you know, they didn't pay their rent.
Yeah, Christmas in June or whatever, whenever it came out,
Yeah.
May. You know, a lot of people went and bought flat screen TVs and stuff. So you know, let me put it to you. The reason why I asked that particular question, do we need another stimulus? The answer is yes. But it's more important that our people make good use of the money and not go out and just buy frivolous and stupid stuff.
Kurt Wilson, we next Tuesday, we don't know what's going to happen in this presidential race. Let's just put it like that. The polls say one thing. We don't know what's going to happen, but we had to go all the way back to South Georgia, found one of Georgia native sons. We want to play him tonight because this is dedicated to, I've dedicated 2 songs to the president. One of them was Running Out of Lies by Johnny Taylor, and this one right here by the one and only Mr. Ray Charles. That's what we want to tell the president next Tuesday.
WCRN. Zero Radio.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
Oh woman, don't treat me so mean. You're the meanest old woman that I've ever seen. I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go.
That's right, hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
Now baby, listen baby, don't you treat me this away, 'cause I'll be back on my feet someday.
Don't care if you do, 'cause it's understood. You ain't got no money, you just ain't no good.
Well, I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go.
That's right, hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
Well,
Don't you come back no more.
what you said?
Don't you come back no more.
I didn't understand you.
Don't you come back no more.
Listen, baby, don't you treat me this away, 'cause I'll be back on my feet someday.
Don't care if you do, 'cause it's understood. You ain't got no money, you just ain't no good.
Well, I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go.
That's right, hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
Well,
Don't you come back no more.
what you said?
Don't you come back no more.
I didn't understand
Don't you come back no more.
you. You can't mean that.
And don't you come back no
Oh, now, baby, please.
Don't you come back no more.
What you trying to do to me?
Here to the 8-Man Corner, where we tell the truth in your city, right here in Stonecrest, Georgia. Kurt Wilson, let's welcome to the program tonight Ms. Lorraine Cochran Johnson, the Commissioner of the Super 7th District. Ms. Cochran Johnson, how you doing?
I am good. It's good to be with you.
All this going on well tonight. We're so glad that you agreed to come on the show tonight. You know, a A lot of people won't take that challenge, but you.
I guess I'm feeling lucky. The
You
first
feel
time I met you, I'll never forget you had a show, and at that time I couldn't afford you.
You can afford me.
So yeah, now it's good to have an invitation, and we're just here together.
Well, tell me what I told you, Miss Johnson.
Well, during that time, he ran into me and he said, "Well, you're running for office. You need to come on my show." He told me his listenership and all those good things, and then he said, "Well, now there's a fee," and of course I said, "Well, I can't afford that." And he said, "Well, you shouldn't be running for office." So the last time I saw you, you told me don't run for office. Now we didn't have me here, so I'm happy to be here.
Well, I thought you're gonna be like the CEO. He know how to do it when he leave out the door. He drop it off.
In politics, we call that a Pentecostal handshake.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I feel like I'm saved. Thank you for coming on tonight. Now, let me tell you why you're here tonight.
Okay.
We want to hear from you what's going on in your district, all what's going on, and that's about the gist of it, Colonel Olson. We need to know exactly what's going on. We want to know about the COVID because you got certain areas right there where it's a lot of people have the COVID. We know that some money has come in from the federal government. We need to know how people can get some of that money based on get eviction and everything else, those things like that.
Okay, well, and you asked about 3 or 4 questions. We need to take it one by one because, it's a lot going on. And, let me say to all the listeners out there that we are at a critical state, as we move towards winter. We have a huge concern of what the health profession calls the twindemic. We're entering flu season right now, so we don't have a vaccine or a cure for this time as we still struggle to understand COVID. So we're urging people to take the flu shot so that we can hopefully control what we understand better, because we plain and simply can't afford to have a spike or a bad flu season, because right now we have the COVID numbers rising. And one of the things I say too, Colonel, is with COVID, it didn't give us anything new, but it brought to the forefront what we already know, and that's that blacks and browns and people of color are more affected in a discriminate way. So we have to be extremely cautious because still the 30058 zip code, which is your Stonecrest, is extremely high right now. So certain areas of Decatur are high as well as Tucker, so that we can keep COVID down in our community.
What level of testing are they doing in DeKalb County?
We are testing daily, and let me say to anyone that's listening, you can call our DeKalb County Public Health Department, and they will immediately route you. I can say that in the city of Stonecrest, in particular, you can go there at any time, and you can receive a free COVID test. So we are providing free COVID testing and will continue to do so. And let me say that we have performed our 100,000th test about 3 weeks ago. So DeKalb County, Georgia has actually tested more people in the state of Georgia than any other county.
Let me say this to you, a couple things, right? Because this is going to raise a concern right here. You said two things. I want to clarify. You say the 30058 Stonecrest. That's also Lithonia.
Lithonia
and Stonecrest, because Stonecrest is 38 also.
3038,
And the other thing is, now you might have struck a nerve here, Ms. Johnson, when you say you suggest people take that vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of black people. I'm just gonna tell you, we just, we just ain't gonna take it. You know, I'm just telling you. I know I'm not gonna take it, but people do what they want to do.
Well, in terms of a vaccine for the COVID, it all depends on how it's been vetted. You know, I will tell the people is, hey, be vigilant and make sure it has been medically vetted before you actually take it. Now, the flu vaccine has been out forever. Now, you've been in the military, me being in the military. My goodness, we've been taking them for 25 plus years. I have no issue. In fact, I took my flu vaccine 1 month early this year. Normally I wait till September. I took it in August this year just to make sure. I was ready. So I would highly encourage all of our listeners out there. I know a lot of people have a whole bunch of phobias and, about taking
There's a lot
vaccines.
There's a lot of uncertainties. I mean, and they got every right to feel like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I definitely appreciate it,
Yeah.
and that's one of the slippery slopes that we deal with, because I know personally I've never been a huge fan of vaccines. But, with COVID being here, it made me look at it differently, and I actually took the flu vaccine this year. Because I have asthma and certain other breathing conditions, so for me, I'm more fearful.
You also got good insurance too.
Well, yeah, but there you go. But it's not DeKalb County. That's TRICARE with military. You know.
Yeah, and see, I'm with her. I have TRICARE too, so I'm with you.
Hey, I got the VA, man.
Well, I got them too.
Oh boy. What else going on, Ms. Johnson?
Well, you did talk about the CARES Fund, and that's really important because this year's been an interesting year. Not only have we seen or experienced probably the most social unrest we've seen, since I would say perhaps even the '60s, but also this global pandemic. So here in DeKalb County, we did receive $125 million in COVID relief funds. So, I know earlier I sort of heard the conversation, and you talked about how can people get this money, because, that money, we have set aside funds to be utilized for everything from business stabilization and expansion, because the one thing we don't need is to see our businesses in our community erode and go away. But also, to help the common folk who deal with everyday issues, because a lot of people have been displaced. So we have lots of money available for rent, mortgage, and utility assistance, as well as food. So we have an entire list, and anyone who doesn't receive my newsletter, I urge you to do so, because it's probably, and I'm proud to say, the most thorough document circulated in DeKalb County. But, I can list Africa's Children Fund, CHRIS 180, Center for Pan-Asian Communities, Decatur Cooperative Ministry, Step Up Pathways, all of those agencies. We have a total of 26 agencies, nonprofits, who have been given money to directly release it back into the community to assist people that are in need.
For the small businesses, is there anything available to help them re-engineer their business plan? With COVID-19, one thing that the businesses need to understand going forward, you might have to re-engineer your business process, because things are just not going to, like flipping a switch and go back like they were. So hopefully there are some funds that will help the small businesses say, now take a look at your business plan and re-engineer it if it needs.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because I probably focus more on economic development than most as an elected official. And 2 weeks ago, I did an appropriation of $350,000 of my $1 million allocation to an organization called Operation Hope. And it was specifically for small business and entrepreneurship training. Because what we're finding, we need some form of incubator. Because some listening may be familiar with the Better Business loans that were in my newsletter. We set aside $10 million to be allocated to existing businesses, and we are yet to allocate the entire $10 million.
Wow.
I personally thought that we had not set aside enough, but what you find is every business that functions is not functional. So we're running into situations where people aren't qualifying and coming to the table to receive the money. And we're running out of time, because those funds, they need to be allocated by November 30th.
Let me just pause here and say this, Colonel Rawson. I can say this because I studied politics in DeKalb. I live in DeKalb, so I know what's going on. And I'm not just going to say this because you're sitting here, Ms. Johnson. I call balls, balls, and strikes, strikes. You are one of the most visible commissioners that we have in DeKalb County. The people describe you, call you the eyeglass lady.
Yeah.
That's how they describe you, because they see you out all the time. You're doing things in the community, and we just want to thank you for that. Especially, you've been very supportive with our veterans out here. in our projects what we're doing. And I just want to public, Colonel Rosen, say that we really appreciate that because we don't get that help all over the county like that. Some people say one thing and they'll do other. In other words, they'll throw a rock and hide their hand. But you out on the front line, you down where the rubber meets the road. I've had several people to call you, and you stepped up to the plate and you helped them out. And I want to say that publicly. Thank you for all you do here in DeKalb County.
Yeah, and I echo his comments. One of the things that we have seen in the past, a lot of people, when it's time for election, we see them. They make a lot of promises, and then you don't hear from them again. And we've been pushing this agenda tough here on this show in terms of saying we want people that can serve the community. We don't want people that just running for office and then, like you say, they're going to run off and hide. We want to see them out there doing things in the community. And let's face it, we know our community needs a lot of help, and it's more than just throwing money at the issue. We got to actually put programs in place to help people become better business people and even help new people start businesses and go forth. Put them where they can get capital to start this business. Everybody that tries to run a business, they'll tell you, it takes money and capital. But you need to have sound business plans,
Yes.
sound finance plans, and sound marketing plans if you really want to be successful with your business.
Ms. Johnson, let's talk about your area, what you cover, how many people in your area, because a lot of people don't know there's 2 super districts,
Right.
and you got District 7, which comprised of 3 smaller districts. Is that correct?
Oh no, I have a bit of all 5.
Oh, really?
Super 7, and this is one of the things people don't get. I actually start at the southernmost tip of Dunwoody, and I come all the way down. I come down through Dunwoody, areas of Chamblee, Doraville. I have portions of Tucker, a little snippet of Clarkston, of course, Stonecrest, Stone Mountain. Am I leaving out anything? Ellenwood. So I go from Dunwoody, portions of Decatur. I have a large portion of Decatur. I go from Dunwoody's southernmost tip down to Ellenwood South. And literally, if you were to take the county, divide it in the middle, and give me the eastern half, that's my territory. But, one thing I say, and thank you guys for being kind, in your statements, because I truly do what's in my heart. And, I'm a little fuzzy on my lines because if anyone has ever called my office, they know I do not transfer you out. If you call me, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a commissioner to all people. And I believe that's how it ought to be. We need more of that in government. And, you'll be happy to know I just allocated $10,000 of my money specifically for veteran feeding programs that'll take place both November and December. It's Helping Angels. I'm sure you'll be receiving a call. I gave your name as well as our female veteran that I work with, Levita, as being points of contact for me. Because, these are things that's important. It's truly time that we do what we say. And, when we talk about business, I feel that in many instances, we as elected officials, we've not had the conversation. Since I've gotten there and I now understand the resources that the county has, when we start talking about South and unincorporated DeKalb, those are our areas that are in the greatest need. So in order for us to look like the educated, professional, dignified, hardworking people we are, it's time I tell you what resources are available so you can go out there and help us change our trajectory. When we talk about business, I get calls every day, I want a Chipotle or, where's the Starbucks? Well, we have to own it. We have not because we own not. But we have resources in the county. I can sit here and, I've become somewhat of my own little encyclopedia because I can tell you that the ACE loan program goes from $5,000 to $250,000. If we max out at ACE, depending on what your vision is, we can pick that up with a 108 revolving loan. And all of these loans are anywhere from 1% to 3%. And currently, if you go to the bank for a business loan, you're looking at 5.5 or greater. So let us help you. But, there's been a detachment between critical conversations that we need to have and people understanding what they need to do. And this is not the book of Lorraine, book of John. People perish for a lack of knowledge.
Right.
Right.
So that's what's happening, I feel, in our community because we hadn't had the conversation.
Well, let's talk about the corridor over there where I live at, off Memorial Drive, all the way back up to Stone Mountain. Okay, I feel like we're underserved over there. I'll be honest with you. If we want a gym, we got to go all the way to Way Walker, and that seemed like that's light years away.
It is.
Okay, that's what a lot of the apartment complexes are over there. You're talking about over 50,000 people in an apartment complex. People don't know these apartment complexes are hidden. Over East Punch, they got one section, got 900 units over there. Okay, I know because I own a process service business. I serve eviction notices.
Okay.
So, and there's a lot of them over there, but we don't get a whole lot over there, and a lot of people feel because there's not homeowners over there. The part I live in, there's homeowners. Okay, but you understand what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
We feel like that. Now I will say this about Mr. Steve Bradshaw. I called him, and you know about the cameras.
I know, and we got that the appropriation came.
He called me. He said, he said, not on my, fell out my bed that morning. He called me. He said, Mr. King, I'm taking some of my money and get these cameras up there because they need it. Right there on Central and North Harrison is the worst criminal spot in DeKalb County.
And let me say this, and I'm thankful because I was sort of in the middle of that. We had talked about it, and I understood the need that's going on over there, but it's greater than one man. And when I say that, that solves that issue in that area.
Right.
But we have this problem all over DeKalb. So, I have the legal department working on, and I told you one of the things, because I'm the person who got the moratorium against the dollar stores.
Right.
So I believe in working with the legislation because, I don't want to ask you. I want you to be forced to comply because I do believe that businesses should be providing those cameras as a routine measure of safety.
Right.
And it's not hard to see. If you pull, I often say people lie, numbers don't. Right. When you pull the data and the statistics on crime and violence, your service stations are going to be your highest areas because you have slider crimes, you have people that loiter, that hang out. So these areas in particular, one of the things you find is in some instances you go back after a crime is committed, there's no operative camera.
Right.
We need to control and require that cameras are present and on site. Not just present, but operative. And if not, we need consequences and repercussions for failures to keep people safe around
license.
here.
Don't give them no license.
And having a requirement that it must cover a certain amount of periphery for view. So these are all things that I like and I commend, Commissioner Bradshaw for what he did there, but this needs to be county-wide, and it shouldn't be. I actually revitalized the land bank. Because, the bulk of abated properties are located within District 7, unfortunately. And, so I never want to be negative, but you have to tell the truth. When you got a problem, you have to first acknowledge it,
And business owners ought to be responsible.
Yes.
You need to have the surveillance cameras so that your whole business is covered. So when something happens, all you've got to do is just look at it on the camera.
Right.
And it ought to be a policy that says, in order for you to maintain and keep your business license, these things need to be in place.
Absolutely. And that's where I want to see this, because that's just good business. I mean, I'm a business owner. And if you come to me, I can pull my camera. I can tell you what's going on around my place of business. And that's just the way things ought to be. So, now I find myself, looking at where we are, and you begin to understand how you got here. But at some point, it takes someone to critically analyze things. We sit here and we talk about policing, and I know you and I have had many of those conversations. And recently, I proposed legislation in 3 different areas to go to the Gold Dome this year for consideration as a legislative priority. Because, after the social unrest, I always start looking at, okay, now how do I fix this? We can talk about it, but it's laws. It's the laws
Absolutely.
that govern us that's most important. So when we pulled legislation and started to read, what you found is that there is no uniform policy on cams. So body cams. So in some instances, and let me say clearly, I support our police officers. I support them. They do a very difficult job. And here in DeKalb, we have great officers. But uniformity of law is important.
Absolutely.
So that when crimes are committed, you can pull that footage, you understand. And if your body cam isn't working, then you do not perform your job until which time you have an operative camera. Another thing, because I have legislation everywhere, you know, I love laws, professional liability insurance. You know, when we go into executive session, you don't hear that conversation. And, you know, for the sake of knowledge, because I like folk to know what I'm talking about, when we go into executive session, we are either discussing land sales or purchases, we are discussing legislation, or a matter of personnel. According to our charter, those are the only 3 reasons we can have a private conversation. So I see the amount of money that we spend on lawsuits and settlements. And to any person, it would be, you know, shocking to one's conscience and egregious. So, you know, looking at, do we not require these individuals to carry a professional liability insurance just as your medical doctors? So if you're found to be in an adverse position by your own doing, then I think you need to cover the cost, because that's not what I'm paying you to do, not in my DeKalb. Okay, so that was another piece of legislation that we're now exploring. And the third piece that we're exploring is transparency of personnel records, because that, when you pull the personnel records, particularly of individuals who have surfaced in the media that are law enforcement personnel, every time there seems to be a long history.
Now that's something that's truly amazing to me in 2020, is that we don't have clear records on people that we hire as policemen, that, you know, somebody can commit something in one jurisdiction and then go to another one and be hired with all of these things in their past. And that's just totally amazing to me in 2020.
And hey, our past follows us. Yours does. You know, go to Equifax, TransUnion, or you know, you understand what I'm saying now. You know, so we need to understand these things, and it would make a huge difference in policing.
Either we got it and don't want to use it, or because they got it. You know, when we pull up these officers' records, they say, "Oh, I got 6 complaints on him over here now." But that started at the top, Colonel Wilson.
Right.
You know, it starts at the top.
And you're absolutely right. We have the capability, we just don't use it.
Let's do this right here. So much is going on in Philadelphia right now. I wish the sound of Philadelphia was sounding just like this here today. Unfortunately, it's not. You hear police sirens and everything. But I remember the time, Colonel Wilson, when the sounds of Philadelphia were sounding just like this. Let's just get this in right quick, Rose. I want to talk about this right quick. Mr. Warnock, and we're going to move back to Ms. Johnson here. I think he's doing an outstanding job. If he don't win, it's not because he didn't put forth the effort.
That's right.
Yeah, I am very proud of the campaign that he is running.
Yeah.
It's all positive, it's all progressive, and it's all focused on the people.
He don't raise a lot of money somewhere, man. I mean, he got a bus. He on every 15 minutes he got a commercial. I'm talking about a different one.
But the Democratic Party has really stepped up too.
Yeah.
A lot, and you'll notice, and this was good. I because I pay attention to everything. The Democratic Party has purchased lots of airtime that promotes both he and Ossoff, and that's what we need because it's time for us to flip this Senate, and we can do it. I mean, really, the nation is watching Georgia.
You know, and the thing that I like about Reverend Warnock is that his persona is such that they can't come negative at him. There's nothing that you can come out there and say negative about him. He's all about people, and there's nothing in his past that you can say, oh, well, he's going to do this and he's going to do that, or he has done this. So it's great, and it's been really refreshing to actually see this when you actually have somebody running a actually competent, progressive, and a campaign that's truly for the people.
Well, what we're gonna have to do is just, if he win, hold him to the fire. That's what we got to do with our politicians because he's sitting in a very key position right there where he can help a lot of veterans in that position that he's in, and we need help, Conrosa. We have some serious issues right here. I'm going to talk to you later on, Ms. Johnson, about the eviction of veterans, and they're not homeless veterans are not being able to eat, nobody being able to help them. There's some serious problems, and we'll share this. Let's talk some more.
Well, I would like to go back to something that was said previously in the conversation, and one of you said, well, the reason we don't have something is because we don't have a lot of homeowners in place, and this is just my own personal opinion. I hear Donald Trump talk about the deep state, but there is a deep state in this country, and it's not against Donald Trump. It's against black people and people of color actually having land ownership. If you look back, what has been going on over time is that there's been rules in place that prevent black people from having ownership of homes, businesses, and it's something Ms. Johnson, talked about with the special funding that they got out there. You can come and get a business loan at 1% versus if you go to the bank, you're going to pay 5.5%. And I'm going to tell you this: if you go to the bank, you ain't got to worry about paying 5.5%. They're not going to even give you the loan because they have been denying black people for years, because it's that thing that's going on in our society that denies us from having ownership of property.
Ms. Johnson, let's take a look around DeKalb County. A lot of gentrification is going on.
Yes.
I want you to address that issue here tonight because you're just the perfect person.
Yeah, I think I was the first person to hold a town hall on the changing dynamics of DeKalb, and the first thing on my agenda that night was gentrification. And I believe it was probably one of the most well attended. We had approaching 300 people come because they understood the issue. The dynamics of DeKalb is changing greatly. The dynamics of the city of Atlanta have changed tremendously. And what you see happening is history repeating itself here. So communities that had traditionally, for many years been, black and brown communities, if you, of course, Glenwood is gone, you go on up to Gresham, it's gone, you see a massive gentrification. And if you come down to Candler, if you're coming from City of Atlanta proper, turn left, go down through the Tony Valley community or any of those areas, you see a total revitalization of those communities. And, one thing I can't do, I can pass a moratorium against dollar stores, but I can't pass a moratorium against folk who are selling their home because they have that inherent right. So for us, it becomes a matter of education because myself and JP, as we're out there, one of the things that we found is these are folk who bought homes, and at that time they may have spent $40,000. And they have someone that comes along, and I can remember walking up to this little lady's house, and she saw me and she said, "Baby, you here to buy my house?" And I said, "No, ma'am, I'm here to help you keep it." So you talk to them, because many become fearful as their tax digest changes. Because as property values go up, so does your tax rate. But letting them know that you can freeze your taxes if you're a senior, if you're disabled, and your income hasn't changed, then you don't have to be fearful of selling your home because you can't afford to pay the taxes on it. So these are all things, again, where we need to have conversations in our communities, because I just don't want to see folk pass on their legacy. And there are a lot of unscrupulous things that go on out there.
It goes on, and a lot of times, because we don't know, we ended up, and this is what I was told in the past: you're a penny wise and a dollar stupid. And we just got to teach our people in terms of how to keep passing it on inside the community, inside of your family. As we have went back over if you go back 30 years, even 40, maybe even 50, and see, but back there, the black ownership of property, homes, was like this. And every year, it keeps shrinking and shrinking. It's going to get to a point to where we're going to hardly own anything.
You're absolutely right. Ms. Johnson, I want to pause here to do this here. For the next 5 minutes, I want you to look in that camera right there and speak to the citizen of DeKalb County. Tell them what you want them to know. Tell them what direction that we're going in over the 7 as well as the southern DeKalb County.
The one thing that I can say, and let me speak to the heart, or shall I say from the heart to DeKalb, because that's all I know how to do. I have great hope for DeKalb. Being a newly elected official who came here from corporate America, my only concern when I walked into office was seeing our community look like who we are, the educated, dignified, professional, hardworking people that we are. I found the issues. I understand the issues. We are dealing with issues of infrastructure. Many people that hear me say that, you may not understand what I'm saying, but here we're under a consent decree where we must expand, replace, and enlarge pipes. But all you see on the news is the byproduct of where we are, meaning sanitary sewer overflow spills. We are dealing with situations, and let's be clear, sometimes we must go back to move forward. So for decades, there's been omissions as it relates to water and infrastructure. So to CEO Thurman, I do give full credit, because when he came in, we were at a critical state and there was no time to duck or dodge. There's some things that one must face head on. So from that standpoint, I see those things changing. From where I sit as the chair of Public Works and Infrastructure, I see the businesses that desire to have a presence in our community. And once those things are taken care of as it relates to infrastructure, once we are unified in our message of empowering our people in DeKalb County to come to the table, to own businesses, to understand financial dignity through the programs that we're creating, because for any of you that are watching us or hearing us this evening, we have Operation Hope. We have Hope in DeKalb. Since I cut the ribbon on that building at Stonecrest, we have issued $3.5 million in home loans to DeKalb County residents, and we've increased the credit score of over 1,300 people from 40 to 60 points. Because it's time we as communities move away from being black and white. It's time we become green. Because in communities where you have 700 credit scores or more, you don't have the same issues that you have in communities that have lower credit scores. So if there's one thing that I can say to everyone that listens to me, it is time that you hold us accountable. When I came into office, no one who's probably listening had ever, unless you needed to know me, you probably did not. But it's time we take a careful look at people who serve us and what they do. It's time that if their agenda doesn't align with ours, that we go out there and we find candidates. When I grew up in LA, in Lower Alabama, my grandfather and the elders of our community, they chose our leaders. And once they chose them, they gave them the agenda of the people. And it was their responsibility to ensure that the people were taken care of. So I do feel a new day in DeKalb. I feel a new spirit in DeKalb. I see people that reach out to me that have not traditionally been involved in government who want to take an active role. So for that, I'm proud. I'm proud to have a vision because, the one thing I'll say about the Super 7, we will not perish. We have 2 new senior centers that are being built. For me, I also understand the importance of focusing on the youth. Because when it comes to litter, you all may not understand, but see, I concern myself with the numbers. We spend $6 million each and every year on litter. That's money that could go into our community in a constructive way. But pride is something that I can't issue you. I can't legislate morality. I can control speed, traffic, and legislation, but a breakdown in the human spirit and understanding what's important is an inherent nature and byproduct of community and home. So for everyone that listens to me, I say to you, it's time that we are responsible for our own communities. It's time we stand up, it's time we step up, and it's time we come to the plate to change what's in front of us. So, I'd like to thank you, for having me, Mr. King. I think you understand that, I tell anybody, I'm not paid for what I do. This is mission work. There is no way an individual could possibly understand receiving 200 emails average on a daily basis. And I see the need of people. And that's what we have to address. Because when you deal with the human issue, all other issues take care of themselves. So from that standpoint, join us. Make sure, if anything, you vote. This year we have nothing less than democracy on the ballot. So show up. It's time you understand who's there. We have the opportunity. In 2010, 2000, we made the biggest mistake of our lives by not showing up to give our president, Barack Obama, the administration that he needed from both the House and the Senate to be as effective as he could. So I think we're beginning to understand politics. In America, we should not have the Electoral College decide who will represent us when we have the ability to have a popular vote. So I'm expecting to see things turn out a lot differently on November 3rd. So let's make sure we get out there. We have 1 day left and it's over.
Colonel Rollison, let the church say, amen. I tell you, somebody in the Bible said, it said like this, they almost persuaded me to be a Christian. They almost persuaded. I almost joined church tonight, Colonel Rollison. My God, what a! Oh man, that was a great commentary right there.
And I hope everybody caught this one point about the breakdown in human spirit. If you got to break down in human spirit, there's not much that we can build up. All the other things become null and void if your human spirit is broke.
Ms. Johnson, I promise us you'll come back again and share with us.
You called me once. Like I said, I came to your door, I knocked once, you said you better have some money. I told you I didn't have any. The second time I came as I was, as we do in the Baptist church, so I'll be on back when you call me.
Well, normally when we got a show this good, Colonel Rollison, we'll go over, I'll pay for another hour. But I paid out, I tell you. No, but we're excited. We're excited about having you here. I mean, it's, man, you got a wealth of knowledge. Is that all you want the people to know? If there's anything else you want the people to know?
It's some things I honestly can't say. You have to be careful.
You got to be careful.
Got to be careful.
Do.
Okay.
But I will say this because, I get excited. And again, because, some things, it takes time to manifest. And that's why I talk a little bit about legislation, but that's where my mind is. That's how I function because that's how I was raised,
Well, we're going to keep the people on the edge of their seats, Colonel Rose, and we're going to go on, cut it off here. We're going to save it for the next time because we only got about a minute. Remember, next week, D-Day, that's what it is. D-Day,
right.
November the 3rd. Who you with? That's what they had to say. Ms. Johnson, this is how we do it here on the Amen Corner. When we get ready to close out, I'll say who I am, you. Colonel Rose, we had a great day. Appreciate you coming on the show tonight. On behalf of the Amen Corner, my name is King.
I'm Lorraine Cochran Johnson.
I'm Colonel William Rollison.
Let the church say,
amen.
Amen.
All right, fun.
views and opinions expressed or stated on this broadcast do not reflect those of WCRN Radio Network, C-Room TV, or any of its affiliates, officials, or employees.